Welcome back to our food and dining coverage here on Sustainably UC Davis. Last time we left off learning about the Student Farm, a thriving student-run operation dedicated to sustainable agriculture. But what happens next? Today we're diving into how those fresh, locally grown ingredients make their way to students through on-campus dining. Let's get started. Produce from the Student Farm and other local sources remain central to our on-campus dining options. Student Housing and Dining Services works to procure locally sourced, sustainably grown foods whenever possible. Here to tell you more about sustainable food sourcing and the partnerships that make it possible is Director of Dining Services Operations, Chamayo Yniguez.
UCOP has a procurement that they want to reach throughout the UCs by 2030. We want all the UCs to be able to procure at least 25% of their food that has a sustainable attribute. So how the UC does that is UCOP will create large contracts because if you have more spend, it's easier to negotiate different attributes that we need, whether it could be a humanely raised poultry, it could be grass-fed beef, it could be organic tofu, all of these other type of things. And so we at UC Davis work with a lot of the other UCs as far as procurement. We also do a lot of campus relationships. So as you know, we're an ag school, so that makes it perfect for us. School of Ag's examples will be the student farm. So we procure from them, we work with them, meet with them on a weekly basis, and then they also try to grow stuff that we can use in our dining commons. The School of Ag has a research facility called Russell Ranch, 1,600 acres. We work a lot with them during the summertime. One of the problems with produce is that the majority of it is produced highly in the summertime, and we aren't highly active in the summertime. So what we try to do is use products that are in the summertime and then carry them over for the rest of the year. So an example would be Russell Ranch grows us about 40,000 pounds of Roma tomatoes. During the summertime, we take those Roma tomatoes, we cook them into a tomato sauce, and then we go ahead and freeze it, and then we store it, and then we use it throughout the year. So if you go to one of our platforms and you see a red tomato sauce, that came from the campus. We also work with other researchers. So we work with people like the Olive Center. The Olive Center, we're working on them for them to be able to produce more food service size quantities of olive oil that we can use, because currently they were retail based, so we meet with them as often as possible. And then we also meet with animal science a lot as far as some aquaponics and other things that they're doing too. Our campus partners are unique because not every UC in the system has that capability. And so we get sustainable attributes for those products that we come from the campus because they are directly coming from the farms. And so that's how we are able to get credits when we do our sustainable attributes.
Our on-campus dining services also have a strong sustainability and nutrition education program. As an undergraduate, you can work as a sustainability student assistant, peer educator, resident garden coordinator, or sustainability intern. These positions broadly involve creating communication materials, giving presentations, and supporting events related to housing and dining sustainability initiatives. You can learn more about recruitment for these positions on the Student Housing and Dining website. Now let's hear about this programming from Samuel Orellana, Student Housing and Dining Services Sustainability Specialist, and Sustainability Intern April Engelmeier.
So when it comes to dining services, we have two main, categories in which we can talk about. One of them focuses on waste, and that incorporates the waste studies that we do, front of house and back of house. Our front of house waste studies are a tool that helps us identify how much food waste is being produced, and that data also allows us to come up with educational materials to provide our students and all of our dining guests with information about food waste, proper waste practices and stuff like that. And then our back of house waste studies allows us to kind of take a look on how waste sorting practices are being done in the back of house with all of our dining staff, and at the same time provides us with results and data so we can come up with educational materials to better support our dining staff. The University of California has a hierarchy of waste, which consists on reducing waste, reusing, recycling, and then compost. Based on those goals, our waste studies really gave us an insight on some of the areas that we can improve upon. So for example, the back of house waste studies really allows us to see how well our staff know our waste sorting practices and allows us to come up with educational materials for them to improve on what they already know. And then the front of house waste studies really give us an insight on how well our students are aware of, how to be sustainable when it comes to choosing the food that you want in the DC and pretty much reducing as much food waste as we can.
As a sustainability peer educator, we work with student housing and dining to bring sustainability on a large scale to students on campus. We work both in the dining commons and in the residence halls, doing a variety of activities, tabling events, and events that students can come to and participate in to learn about sustainability. Pertaining to food waste, there are two really simple programs that the Dining Commons has that students can utilize. One being Try a Taste, where if they're going up to get food and they're not necessarily sure they're going to want the entire dish, they can simply ask to try a sample of whatever the food is, rather than grabbing the entire thing and possibly wasting it. The other program that students can use is Just Ask, where they can go up to chefs and at any station just simply ask to have a dish made how they like it, rather than grabbing the entire dish that they may or may not want and might possibly waste. I think that those are two of the biggest ways they can eliminate their food waste.
Speaking of food waste, stay tuned for a future episode where we'll cover how compost is turned into energy on a large scale right here on campus. See you next time on Sustainably UC Davis.